When should you stop drinking alcohol? Well, after not drinking myself for 7 years, after a decade of struggling, and after working with over 500 business owners and professionals to help them stop drinking alcohol as well, I realized something. There is a right time to do this, and there's a wrong time. In fact, there's a very wrong time that is incredibly dangerous. And no, this is not clickbait. Because if you don't understand what I'm going to talk about in this video, and you make the mistake that I'm talking about, you may never stop drinking. You might just keep doing what you've been doing, and the time might just never arrive. If we've not met yet, my name is Leon Sylvester. I'm the founder of SoberClear.com. So let's break it down. So we've first got to unpack what stops people from actually trying to quit or quitting at all. Because more often than not, when people drink alcohol and they think about stopping, they're met with this resistance. They're met with such a wide range of emotions. And those emotions create this resistance, and then nobody ends up taking action. So where are these emotions coming from? Well, it's one word: fear. This is what stops people from stopping drinking. And I'm not talking here that they're afraid of alcohol or necessarily afraid of withdrawal. It's a deep-rooted fear that somehow, if they were to stop drinking alcohol, their life will be worse. And this can be so subtle. In fact, most people don't even realize that this is what's causing them to continue to drink. They're afraid that they go to the social event and it's just not as fun. They don't loosen up the same. They're afraid that they get back from a stressful day at the office and they can't relax with that glass of wine. They're afraid that if there's a big problem that's thrown at them, they can't escape. So what the problem is that people believe that alcohol gives them something of value, and they have a huge weighting on that value. So of course, if you were to remove that, there's going to be a feeling of fear. And maybe fear is not the perfect word. It's probably more the feeling of missing out. But I think I read it in Alan Carr's book, Fear. It seems to encapsulate it really well. So what are people waiting for? Because if that's the block, and you're resonating with what I'm saying, because this is the block for everybody. Because if that fear wasn't there, then stopping drinking will be a choice. It will be so easy because there's nothing to give up. If you truly feel like you're not missing out on anything, stopping drinking is like that. And here is what you should not be waiting for. But the problem is that people are waiting for the fear to disappear, and they want it replacing with this emotional certainty. See, emotional certainty is really the key to making any big behavior change. One of the most effective ways to stop drinking, if you go and look at the actual studies and the data, is a doctor sitting down with you and saying, if you continue to drink, you're screwed, you'll probably die. People having an intervention like that has one of the highest success rates, if not the highest. Because what happens to the person when they hear that news? Well, they stop the lie, right? They stop thinking that alcohol gives them something, and they're flooded with emotional certainty that they need to stop. And they stop. And it works. It happens in an instant. Now, I'm not saying that we all need to drink so much that we go to a doctor and a doctor delivers that news. No, I'm not saying we need to wait for this. That would be quite ridiculous. And it's a very sad thing at the same time. It's not nice. But this is what people need. They need emotional certainty that they can do it and there's nothing to give up. And this is how I stopped drinking. When I stopped drinking alcohol, it was a flick of a switch in my brain and I was finished. I just knew without any doubt that I wasn't going to drink again. And that's the level of emotional certainty that I'm talking about. So what am I talking about with the title of this video and waiting for this? Well, here's the problem. If you're sat there waiting for emotional certainty, it will never ever come. I promise you. I'll give you one example. I wanted to make YouTube videos for probably 2 years. It took me 2 years to get the emotional certainty that if I post on YouTube, everything's going to be okay. I was afraid of what everybody would think of me, what people that I grew up in school are going to say. I was terrified before I posted my first YouTube video. I can literally remember the flood of adrenaline and literally shaking pressing post. But I just had emotional certainty that everything would be okay, and then I changed my behavior. But that took me 2 years. And I was reading and learning and watching so many videos on YouTube and improving your life and self-development until I got to a place where it just made sense. But here's the problem with alcohol, is most people aren't doing that. They're not doing the research, they're not reading the books, they're not watching the videos, hiring the coaches, they're sat there waiting for a freaking miracle. This is what I'm talking about. If you are sat there waiting for emotional certainty and you're hoping that that is just going to get you to stop drinking alcohol, you're screwed. Hope is not a strategy here. it doesn't work because I hoped for my entire life. The whole time I was drinking, I was hoping that I could stop. And I was waiting. I was waiting for this damn miracle that never happened. You cannot wait for this emotional shift. If you do, the risk of you continuing to drink is too damn high. Because if you don't ever get that feeling, which by the way becomes less and less likely over time, unless you have some catastrophic event or you seriously want to change, if you're waiting for it, it might never happen. So what do you need to do? You need to create the emotional certainty that you can change and there's nothing to give up. You cannot wait for this miracle. And instead, you've got to start putting in the work. You have to seek out information that will help you on this path. The best thing that you can do is find people like me. I'm not saying that I'm for everybody, but find people with messages that are restoring truth to the chaos in your head with alcohol. There are plenty of people out there. And as more and more people stop drinking and then want to work in the same industry, there'll be more and more people with messages that you may resonate with. For people that like my style, my delivery, and my approach, and using first principles thinking, using logic, using science. For people that like that, they listen to me. They listen to the YouTube videos, they might join the Sober Clear program where they can work with me directly. But you need to find somebody who can give you the emotional certainty, who can restore some balance in your brain, who can bring some truth to alcohol and the industry and the lies that are pushed on you all the time. So you can just get to that place where you feel ready. But you cannot sit around and wait for this to happen. You need to put in the work. You need to buy the books. You need to dedicate time to studying. And you need to do some serious self-analysis. You need to put in the work and stop waiting for that damn miracle. Because I know you can do this. I'm 100% sure you wouldn't have made it this far in the video if you weren't serious about changing your relationship with alcohol. And in fact, I honestly hate that word, changing your relationship with alcohol. It's dumb. You're not changing your relationship with it. You're getting rid of it. You're deleting it from your brain and moving the hell on. You're divorcing alcohol. There's a better word for it. Change your relationship. Screw that. No, we're divorcing that crap and moving on with our life. You can do that, but you've got to put in the work. Seek out the information, find a coach, find some mentor, find somebody that can help you. I believe in you so much. And if you click the video on the screen now, I'm going to show you some of the secrets to stopping drinking.